Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today, work begins on the lower front of the tiny house remodel. This is what I need for the framing of the front here, and this is what I have. None of it can stay except for a part of the header. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but I spent a little time this morning, probably 2 hours or so, and I got some marks in where the studs are going to go, and the edge of the door opening is going to be right here. So what I gotta do is get a stud right here going down to a new sill chunk. I gotta cut all this stuff out, put a new chunk of sill, have that come up to right here. Then I gotta cut up a bit and cut all the way across to the other side. And I have to put 2 more studs on the other side of that. It'll be pretty interesting, and it is definitely not going to be easy. First thing I got to do is get this door frame out and get this metal sill out of there. I got to get it so that I can put that sill plate in and get that stud going up to here. Then I can start tearing some of the other stuff out. I don't want to leave this front unbraced. I want to add that stud first, then start taking stuff out, then add some more studs, then take some more stuff out. At no time do I want this front completely open, because otherwise I'm going to need to do all kinds of bracing and stuff to hold this up. If I put a stud in and then take a stud out, I'll be just fine. So, looking at this, I think the first thing I need to do is take a Sawzall and cut up to this header. Maybe cut in a few places, pull this door frame out, and then take off the trim on the outside. And I'll need to cut this stud right here over to these 2 studs. I need access to this sill plate. Then I'll extend that sill plate to where it needs to go and get that stud in place. Once I have that single stud in place, I can work on the rest of the stuff. Once it's in place, I got to cut all the way up to here and then pull this whole piece out. So it's a lot of work. It's probably going to take me, I'm going to guess 3 days. I have a lot of other stuff going on right now as well. So I'm probably just going to do this in 3 parts or however many days it takes, so the video doesn't get too long. Okay, let's start tearing some stuff out. Alright, thought I'd show you the Sawzall blades I'm going to be using for this. I have 9-inch demo blades. These are wooden nail demo blades from Lennox, and I'll be using that on the majority of the stuff. But if I run into some difficult metal, I have these Bosch thick metal edge blades. I have a Lennox blade in there right now, and see, I gotta take this stud out too, so I'm wondering if I should just cut all the way through that. These are coming out as well, but not right now. So if I cut all the way to here, just do that 4 or 5 times. I want to leave the header alone, at least this part of the header. This part is coming out, so I can cut up and cut a little bit into the header as well. I need to get all that out and the door sill. I'll use the metal blade on the door sill, and hopefully that'll come out cleanly. Once I get that stuff out, then I can figure out that sill, but yeah, that's a plan. We'll just cut all the way over to these 2 studs. That'll cut into this trim here, but that doesn't matter at all. Okay, that's our plan. Okay, the plan is becoming a little clearer. I don't think I'm going to have to use the metal blades at all. This wood and metal demo blade is cutting through nails like butter. Look at how it cut that one right in half. So what I'm going to do is come in right here on this astragal and then follow the door down and cut this sill in half. I'm going to leave the door in for now. It's going to rain tonight, thunderstorms, and unfortunately the wind is going to be coming directly this way, so it's going to get wet in here. I'm not going to seal this up, but at least we'll have that to block some of the weather. So I'll unscrew it, pull that out, and then I'll cut this front ledge off and get that out. And I'm going to go one more stud. I'll just go right into my old cuts, cut over one more stud, and pull that out. That'll give me access to the top of the sole plate. Then I can measure, well, I'll drop a plumb line from my line right there, drop a plumb line down, and then measure what I need for a sole plate and get that screwed into place. Then I believe all my work is up there. I just cut up that way and pull the rest of this header down, or not header, but door frame. Pull the rest of the door frame out. Then I'll get that stud in place right here and then use the stud and a handsaw to cut up into here. I only have to cut this down to 3.5 inches, and I believe right now it's 5. So I'm going to have to cut up that high and then cut over, but I don't need to do any of that right now. On the other side, I need to cut that all the way up, and then the 2 studs on this side of the door are going to be going up against that. You'll see all that in just a bit. Let's get that sill plate out first, and then we'll work on this. Okay, I'm at the point right now where I need to drop plumb from that line down to the floor right there. I was going to use my plumb bob. Yeah, there it is right there. But this gusty wind, every time I get it almost right, the wind's going to blow it and it's just going to start circling around. So what I think I'm going to do is just go get my Stabila plate level. I believe that'll fit underneath the ceiling. We'll find out in a second. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to hold it. I'll probably just clamp it in place with a wood clamp, get it right on that line, get it plumb, and then mark down there. Natalie and I used that to get all of the posts for my post frame dead plumb, and it should work here too, as long as I can clamp it in place somehow, but I believe I can just use a wood clamp to do that. As soon as I started putting this plate level in, the wind picked up. Glad I thought of this. So we have level right there, and we have level right there. This is dead plumb right now, and it's right on the line. So all I got to do is mark my line on the floor, and I can't just take a pencil and do that, so I'm going to have to take, where is that? Right here. We'll take a razor blade and we'll just hold it flat up against the level and make a little cut in the floor. And then, see what I mean? There's a gap right there. So I'm gonna need 2 hands for this. We'll make our little scratch and then darken that up with a pencil, and we're good to go. All right. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it or not, but a real nice little line right there. Darken it up a little bit. Now we'll pull this out of here and get a dimension from there over to the existing sill plate and cut a new chunk to fit. And then we'll have to, what do we got here? We'll put another bolt right here and 2 bolts in here. We're going to use treated spacks for that. Okay, let's get this out of here. Okay, I forgot to record. I did quite a few things. I got the stud cut and I got the sill cut, and I laid out the studs on the sill and where I'm going to put my big old spacks. Well, they're not huge. That's why I'm putting 4 of them in there, and that will be plenty. I was second guessing my stud locations, but what I have on the drawings is absolutely correct. So that's what I'm going with. So once I got this out, I scrubbed the area with, where is that? Well, it's somewhere around here. Wire brush. Just took it, cleaned it up a bit, and then I painted it with Woodlife Copper Cote. That'll help keep it from rotting out. And now what I'm going to do is put a couple nails, nail this stud right into place, put it on the floor, and nail that in, and then assemble this into place. Well, I'm going to pocket screw the top of this, and then nail it onto there. Then I'm going to throw one of these good sized screws up through the bottom into this stud. I want this to be a very strong connection. Then I'll tap it around, get it exactly where it's got to go, and then throw the power legs in there, the spacks, and then I can put that next stud on there and fasten that. Well, actually, I got to cut the header up, and then I can put the next stud on. That's going to be a good deal of work. Then I can go with the next stud and get that in place. Once all that's done, then I can take out this stud here and put the next one in, then take out the last one and put the last one in. These are both in the wrong place. Let me show you where that is. We have a stud here, that's that stud. Oh, actually, we only have one more stud. We got one right here. So I'll take both of these out, put that one stud in there, and then this wall will be done, except for some blocking for some flower pots. Then I can start on the other side. Once I get the other side in, I have to cut up and cut across. That's going to be kind of difficult, but we'll figure out how to do that when the time comes. So let's get this pocket screwed and fixed to the sole plate, and then we'll get this whole mess in place. When I do pocket screws on construction lumber like this, I set the jig about a 1/2 inch in. This is Douglas fir, so it's pretty hard to drill. And these DeWalt chucks slip like crazy. But I put 2 pocket screws on one side and then one centered on the other side. And then I just use construction screws to put it together. The reason for leaving this 1/2 inch is so the screw doesn't blow out a chunk of your wood. There we go. Now, nail this to the sole plate. And we're going to do that. Get my big bullets in the gun. Do that back here. The ones that were in there were for the siding, and they're only 2 inches long. Get this dead flush and as straight as I can. Okay, now for the screw, and then we'll put this in place. Just a bit of a countersink so that the sole plate lays flush on the floor. Beautiful. The reason that these are offset like that, you can see they're a little further in from the inside here, is that this rim joist is 2 1.5 inch pieces of material. So that's only 3 inches wide. This is 3.5 inch wide. These go right into the center of this material down here. Those are 2x6s. Okay, let's get the pocket screws in place, and then we got to cut the header out. Originally, I had planned on taking out this entire wall and building a support wall inside a little bit, and then reframing the entire wall. Then I came up with this idea of just putting in a stud or 2 at a time, peel off just as much paneling as I need to get the studs in. So then I came up with the idea of getting this stud in and then just cutting this up and then taking this out and then putting my king stud in up against that. This still has to be cut up and over, but now I'm thinking if I put my next stud right next to this, underneath this old header, and then my next stud after that is over here, and just make that cut way over here. That'll make for a stronger wall. Well, that's about it. It'll make for a stronger wall because we'll have more of this big header here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll put another stud right next to this, and then we'll be cutting it right here. Hopefully you can see that. Right down there. I'll get a plumb line on that, and then we'll put that full stud right here. Then, like I said before, there's only one stud left on this wall. I'll have to take off a bunch of stuff, get that stud in, and this side will be done. Once I get the other side done, then I can cut that header to the right opening width. Okay, with my big Stabilo level on the line down there and on the line up here, it is dead plumb. So I'll just make a little hash mark right here, connect them two lines, and then that's the line we're going to saw on. I'm going to start with a circular saw, and then the rest I'm going to have to do by hand. It started getting really dark out. We got a big storm coming. You can see the rain over that way. Don't want to go out there because it's a bit windy. So like I said, I had my level on this little dash right here and this little line to the right here. And then I connected the dots, and this is the line I got to cut on. I'm going to do as much as I can with the circular saw. Once that's done, I'll screw a block onto this side to steady the saw with, and I'll use a handsaw to cut the rest of it. Hopefully it all goes well. Got a nail right there, but we're not going to hit that. Okay, let me go get the circular saw and we'll get this cut. Well, it may not look like it, but I think I made a ton of progress today. I had to do a lot of head scratching and a lot of going to get tools and stuff, and that took up a lot of the time. I think I'll be able to get this same stuff done on the other side in probably 3 hours less time. Then I got to get the skin on and the door on, so it's still going to take 3, maybe even 4 days, but a lot of progress was made today. So what I think I'm going to do is get this last stud cut. Oh, let me show you that. I think my circular saw cut was more off than my handsaw cut. That's a pretty nice cut. It's not perfect, but that's really nice. I don't know if you could see that or not, but it's really nice and flat. Okay, let me get this cut and we'll get it installed, and then we'll talk about what's coming up next. Okay, that's it for day one. Like I said before, the last thing that needs to be done on this wall is removing this stud, removing the skin, and replacing that one stud right here. And the reason that there's 3 studs on this side is because the opening's right here, so there's going to be a stud right below that. Then there's like a 1/2 inch space, and then a stud would go there. So if I just put 3 studs in there, I'll still have the nailing area that I need. That's like the end of the first panel right there. I'll still have that nailing area, and I'll have a triple stud there. It's just easier than cutting a 1/2 inch filler and having 2 studs and a 1/2 inch filler there. Good, good, good. Yeah, it's going to be some work taking this side out, but I got a little experience in it, and I think I'll do it a bit more efficient next time. So stay tuned for part 2, and I might just get it done in part 2, but I don't think so. I think I'll get all of the framing done and get that header opened up, and then I think it's going to take another full day to get rid of the rest of the panel up here, get the other panels off, and get the new panels on. The new panels got to be fitted because this is a remodel. They're not just going to slap right on. So yeah, I stick with the 3-day estimate that I had before. So if you want to see day 2 and day 3, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.